welcome to It's Your Business, a program designed to highlight our local small businesses. I'm your host, Veronica Douglas. Today, we're talking with Irfan Abji, principal at Contractors. Contractors is an experienced general contractor working with public and commercial clients. Irfan has taken his company from making approximately $400,000 in sales to almost $40 million in 6 years using proven business strategies. Irfan is also the founder and president of Oakdale Group, a conglomerate which is the parent company of Contractors. Good morning, Irfan, and welcome to It's Your Business.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
It's a pleasure having you here. So let's start off talking a little bit about yourself and your background.
Well, not much to say. I'm an immigrant from Tanzania, which is on the east coast of Africa. Came here when I was 16 years old. Decided to actually take on a career in dramatic arts. Became a starving artist in Los Angeles trying to make it in the film industry. And decided to take on a job as a teller in a bank. That's where I really found that I have a knack for numbers. And that sort of changed my entire career pattern. Studied finance at a local community college in Los Angeles, and decided to go into finance. I've since then become a consultant for small business, and that's what gave growth to Oakdale. We saw the opportunity of the acquisition of Contractors, and that's where we bought Contractors in 2013.
So with Contractors, when you purchased it, tell us a little bit about the services that you provide.
So we are a general contractor, mostly dealing in commercial. Our focus today is municipal work. 90% of what we do is municipal. The other 10 is additional commercial construction. We're trying to bring on additional commercial, meaning the private sector clients. That's the addition that we're trying to get into. Mostly ground up construction. We're looking at 4 or 5 new projects in and around Houston right now.
And indeed, you are very good with numbers because you took Contractors from $400,000 in sales to $40 million in just 6 years. So tell us about some of these strategies that you use to boom the company so quickly.
I'm a big proponent of honesty and integrity. I believe that there's 2 levels, and I go more into a philosophical side of things. I believe that honesty and integrity have a ripple effect where people understand you, trust you, and have the confidence in you to give you more. That, I think, was the strategy that we used, especially in an industry where trust is very scarce. And the second side of it is, I believe that when you do so, that there is call it a supernatural force or spirituality or whatever it is, that actually guides you through that as well.
Well, you have done an excellent job with Contractors because you were recently named number 200 out of 5,000 by Inc. magazine as the fastest growing companies in the U.S., and that is a great accomplishment.
Thank you. Thank you.
So as we continue talking about some of the contracts and the clients that you have in the municipal world, tell us a little bit about them and what have you done exactly for them?
So we've done a lot of renovation work. We've done a lot of school renovations. We just finished with the bond work for Fort Bend ISD. We did the renovation for Aldine ISD on their administrative annex building. We're currently doing the engineering facility for TxDOT in Angleton. But those are the types of projects that we've actually worked on.
And I actually met you at the Fort Bend ISD outreach event that they do out there. And I want to applaud you because you're already a prime contractor and you're out there continually looking for subs and you're out there supporting the initiative when you've already been awarded work on that project, and you don't see that too often. So I just want to applaud you on that.
Thank you.
And so when we're talking about scheduling and all these projects that you have going on, what type of systems do you use to actually schedule your projects? Is there a software, or do you have something, what type of tools are you using to do this effectively?
On a software basis, we are using Microsoft Project. Of course, most of the construction companies use that. We've recently partnered with a company called Procore on our project management basis. And Procore is what we're looking at currently, and that's what we're using. We have our proprietary software pieces that we have built in-house, certain methods and means that are proprietary in looking at bids, evaluating those, evaluating our subcontractors, understanding how that actually works into our numbers. So I believe in putting processes in place. I believe that I'm a good process designer. People say I'm not a good process follower, but that's a different story. But those processes have given birth to those different software pieces that we have in-house.
And during your busiest time, about how many projects do you think you're managing at one time?
Simultaneously, when we have a weekly meeting, staff meeting, where I bring in the staff and that we talk about all the projects that we have on for that week. We typically go through 40 to 50.
Wow.
Because again, we not only take a look at smaller projects such as just a one bathroom renovation to the ground up, let's say the one in Angleton or another office building. So we do a lot of jock work, and those are small and fast projects.
So explain JOC to us for the viewers that are watching that aren't familiar with JOC. What does that term mean?
So JOC actually stands for Job Order Contracting. It is a procurement methodology that is used by a lot of municipalities where they award a contract either through a cooperative or in having a contractor base that they would actually contract with. The way that it works is of indefinite quality and indefinite timing. So we don't know what we're actually bidding for. We're basically giving them a price or a discount based on a book or a price list. When the work is required, we would price it based on that pricing book. And there are several guides out there that are used in the industry.
And it's just for smaller, not really
Smaller
routine
work.
jobs.
Exactly.
Maybe they don't want to do in-house.
Exactly.
So when you are making your decisions about the teams that you're putting together to work on these projects, what are you thinking about? Are you thinking about the experience of the team you need to put together? You're obviously very good at winning bids. So when you're putting together your team, what are you looking at? Are you looking at maybe the project individually, the length of time it would take to complete the project, or are you looking at the team you're going to develop to put the project together?
So it's multifaceted, right? You've got to look at it from the team that you have that is actually evaluating it in the first place. Having the experience of understanding the type of work that is there. Do we have the team that is looking at it that has the experience with that type of work? Do they know what the pitfalls are? Do we know what we're looking out for? Let's say that it is a fire station that we're trying to bid on, right? Do I have the team members from my own team in the evaluation at the time of estimating to be able to look at it and to understand what goes into a firehouse? Have they actually built it or not? That's one part. The second part, of course, is understanding the subcontractors that you're working with, right? But it's not only about pricing, right? As I talked about, and I alluded to the fact that, the construction industry itself has a problem as far as trust. So we are always looking for that last number coming to us literally 5 or 7 minutes before bid time, and those numbers sort of get crunched. But it's also understanding as to who's bidding for us, right? Do they have the experience? Do we want them on our team? And that's where the relationship comes into play as to what is our relationship with them, what is our experience with them. Are they just looking at us as one way of furthering their business, or are they really looking at us as being a partner? So there's quite a lot there, but how do you then dilute that and make that a process? And that's actually one of the challenges that I'm taking on and trying to literally learn every day.
So there's a lot of times when a contractor will enter into an agreement with an agency, but there's some terms they're not familiar with. What are some contracting terms that small businesses need to be on the lookout for?
I think it's not about just the terminology. It's about understanding the contract itself, right? I've seen a lot of people actually take on a challenge of, being able to step up and to bid, but not quite understand that when you're doing your due diligence of understanding when you're putting a bid out, that it's not about just the plans and the specifications, but it is also the contract that you're going to be signing, right? And understanding all of the terms that are there. So I can't say that it is specifically to one or the other. If I was to put it to one or the other, it would probably be, to them understanding that there is retainage in payments, that they have to understand that it is that they would be paid as they complete, and they're not trying to get a down payment up front or trying to charge more. Those are common misconceptions that are out there that we hear about all the time.
Have you ever run into any type of obstacles in this industry? Perhaps maybe an entity or someone didn't want to give you an opportunity to perform, or maybe you had a financial struggle, but during your tenure when you purchased e-contractors, did you run into any obstacles in this industry?
Absolutely. My biggest obstacle, if I look at it from my perspective, was the fact that I didn't belong to the construction industry. I didn't grow up with a hammer in my hand. I came in from the financial side of things. I analyze things based on cash flow. I analyze things based on understanding what future work is. How many families, count on us, and how do they get paid? Those are the kinds of questions that I struggle with on a daily basis. And trying to sell yourself as a contractor, right, when everybody knows you as a financial person becomes really hard, and that was the biggest challenge. But I believe, and as I've advised others, is that business itself can be simplified. You can simplify businesses, right? You can even simplify business to, 2 sentences, right? In order to make money, you either increase sales or you decrease expenses, right? It can be simplified to that point. How do you simplify that business? How do you look at it and evaluate it, understand it, and then execute on it is basically where the keys are.
Well, Irfan, you've come up with a really great platform for subcontracting, and I want to take a quick break, but when we come back, I want to talk about that so we can let our viewers know how they can get involved and work with you more.
Good.
We're going to take a quick break. When we return, we're going to continue our conversation with Irfan. We're going to talk about the subcontracting platform that eContractors has on their website.
HCC. So many locations. So little tuition. Register today at hccs.edu/now.
I've seen people's lives change just by attending a class at HCC.
Some of them might not have the financial means to go to a four-year university. That doesn't make them any less quote-unquote smart than the kids who go to a four-year school.
HCC is easy to get to. It's easy to apply and easy to become a part of.
It gave me so much confidence.
Once you finish your 2 years there, you can transition into a four-year university or go into the workforce.
It's affordable, it's accessible, it changes lives.
We have academic programs that help students get from high school into a university, and the data is very clear that students that take the path of a community college finish in far higher numbers than students that start straight into a university experience. Our students can achieve a baccalaureate degree in multiple fields from the universities in the area without ever leaving Houston Community College.
HCC. So many careers, so little tuition. Register today at hccs.edu/now.
Welcome back. We're going to continue our conversation with Irfan, and he was going to talk to us about your subcontracting platform on your website. So before we go further, please tell us what your website address is so that the viewers know how to access the site.
The website's econtractors.com.
Okay, and on that site, for a subcontractor that's interested in doing work with you, what is the next step?
So there's a tab for subcontractors, and in that tab you would find a button to apply with us, so that we can get you pre-approved to start working with us and to receive our bids.
Mm-hmm. And pre-approval, what do they need to have in place to be approved?
We want to make sure that they have the proper insurance coverages. And we want to make sure that they have some experience and just have some references in regards to what work they've done.
Is there any type of specific trade you're looking for?
No, we're constantly looking for. I think it's not about particular trades. What we're looking for is trade partners. Mm-hmm. And what I mean by that is we're looking for individuals that will work hand in hand with us. Again, as I said before, I'm from outside the industry, right? The industry itself has this notion of having tiers, and general contractors are supposed to be on the top of the food chain. I don't see ourselves that way. Mm-hmm. I see ourselves as being the person that actually puts the bow on the present. The makers of that present actually are the subcontractors. So for me, it's really important that we take the work, the hard work that the subcontractors are putting out, be able to organize that, be able to put our portion of it, which is the management of it, to be able to present that to the client. In doing so, it takes a partnership. It's not about us dictating to others. I think the industry has that wrong.
Are you looking for subcontractors that are certified, like small minority woman-owned, or certified in their industry? Or are you just accepting applications and then you'll review them as they come in?
So we do look for certified businesses as well. Mm-hmm. But for us, it's more important about the experience that they have, mm-hmm. And the success that they have, or the success that we can actually help them build. So if the notion is there for somebody to be able to do better, I believe that as they do better, so do we. Mm-hmm. And that's what it's about.
And you're certified as well. What type of certifications do you hold, and do you feel that obtaining the certifications has helped you?
Absolutely, it has helped. We are a minority-owned business. We are also certified as a small business, and we have our hub certification with the state of Texas.
So being a certified contractor, why is it so important to you to also subcontract out when sometimes you're not required to do that?
We believe that the trades themselves, right, are specialized in what they do, right? We could have an army of our own that actually does the work on their own, but having the experience that is there, certified or not, right, becomes important. They have been in the trenches. They do know what can or cannot go wrong in their particular trade. And we believe that having that is a way of mitigating risk.
And you're a great mentor, obviously, because of the, the extended range that you go to work with the subcontractors. Can you tell us maybe a success story of someone that has come through your portal or a subcontractor that you've worked with?
Sure. I can think of a subcontractor that actually came to us, found out that we were actually moving T buildings for one of the school districts. I remember, talking to them and guiding them because they didn't have the proper insurance certificates. They actually had been told by their insurance agent just to go out and just get general liability, and that's all they needed. The general liability itself didn't quite cover the risks that they had. And I had to sit down with them, mentor them through that, and for them to understand what risk they were actually taking, get their insurance certificate in place. They, I think that year, moved about 3 or 4 buildings for us. And the year after, I think they moved almost 28.
Wow.
So again, it's their growth, it's our growth. We now have an added source that we were able to cultivate, and we have another partner that we can count on.
Well, that I guess leads us into talking about Oakdale Insurance Group. So talk to us a little bit about the services that you provide there.
So Oakdale Insurance is a full-service insurance agency that deals mostly in commercial risk. The reason how I found E-Contractors was the fact that I was the insurance agent for E-Contractors. We did their bonding, we did their insurance. The former owner was a very good friend of mine, and that brought the opportunity of when he was liquidating or when he was selling, and we bought. But insurance itself is again a broad subject. Oakdale Insurance just deals with commercial. It focuses now on commercial risk and mostly contracting risk.
So are you able to help the subcontractors that come through your portal that may not have that the correct insurance in place?
Absolutely. Absolutely, we can. We don't push it. It's not a requirement to be insured through Oakdale Insurance to work for E-Contractors, but absolutely, we can help anyone.
So without the insurance, you talked about risk. Tell us a little bit more in depth. What type of risk is really out there? And, what kind of trouble can you get into as a contractor without having the proper insurance in place? And what are those limits that need to be in place?
Well, as they say, the sky is the limit when it comes to insurance. But it's more about analyzing what risk you're taking as a business owner and as understanding how to protect your own assets. We just had an accident on one of our job sites. We had an individual who actually fell through a roof. Thank God he's fine and he's going to recover from that. But the ripple of understanding that if the proper risk was not mitigated, if the proper coverage was not there, you're not talking about something small. And a lot of people don't quite understand that. A lot of people will try to take the risk of, or look at insurance as a piece of paper at times. They don't look at it from the fact of what happens when something really goes wrong. A small cut, right, may not feel really large, but that cut could actually, cause tetanus, could cause other things, right, and turn into a large risk. Limitations, again, I would say, is based on individual risk. That's something that needs to be analyzed. But in the construction industry, of course, you do want your general liability, you do want your workers' compensation. You do want to probably even have an umbrella policy that covers you on that side. You've got automobile liability that you need to think about. And those are limitations. The limitations sometimes are set by municipalities or by clients as to what they would like to see because they want to mitigate their risk as well. But it's a large subject. We could be talking about it for days.
Well, I've noticed with some of our contractors, sometimes they have problems obtaining bonding. How can you help, and do you have any suggestions or anything that you can provide that'll help, get a contractor from point A to point B when all that's kind of holding them up is the ability to be able to obtain a bond?
I think when you look at it from a bonding underwriting perspective, right? At the end of the day, the underwriter is looking at a subcontractor or contractor in trying to understand that if they didn't finish the job, right, what would it cost for them to finish, right? So they, of course, want to see the reassurances in saying what is at stake for that individual or for that company to finish that job. Mm-hmm. If you put yourself in those shoes, right, you would definitely want to be working with someone that shows liquidity, that shows that they have the capacity, and shows that they have the experience. It is baby steps. We started off with a bonding limit of $100,000. Today we sit on a bonding limit of $50 million.
Wow.
Okay, it is baby steps. Prove to the insurance company that you can do 100,000. Go to 200. Go to 4. Keep pushing that limit, right? A lot of us also get lackadaisical about it because as we get into more and more work, we forget the fact that we have a ceiling of how much work can be done. And you've got to push that envelope, I believe. The other part that I would advise, and I advise that to all subcontractors, show liquidity. Don't pull the money out of your company. Reinvest it. If you really want your company to grow, you've got to reinvest that money. You've got to see the liquidity so that you're giving the bonding company the assurance that if something was to go wrong, that you have the ability of either getting cash or have the cash to do so. And therefore, a line of credit would be another way of doing that. That if a bank was to support you, having a line of credit, that if something was to go wrong, you could actually fall back to that line of credit.
And the Oakdale Group's approach is different, I noticed, and just kind of doing some little research on you. You guys take a new school approach to advising your clients versus the old school approach. What approach are you taking exactly? What's different in your approach than what has previously been taken in the approach when we look at advising contractors on their finances?
So I look at it from again, my banking eyes, right? I look at it from a finance perspective. I see the fact of, where cash flow doesn't work for someone. I just received a phone call yesterday, for example. I have a subcontractor coming to talk to me on Friday. Unfortunately, a prime contractor has not been able to pay them because they are in dispute with their client, mm-hmm. and therefore the money hasn't flown in, while the subcontractor is now cash tight and doesn't have the cash availability to keep their doors open. So we've got to look at it from a cash flow perspective and understand and predict cash flow. I guess that's where the difference is. Mm-hmm. I don't look at it from the traditional construction side. I look at it more from the loan analysis or the risk analysis side.
Well, it's really, really benefited you and your company greatly, yes, from taking that different approach in the way you view things. In closing, tell us quickly about your team and how we can contact you.
Oh boy, my team, what can I not say about them? I believe that the team is what makes a company. You've got to surround yourself by strong people who have the same values as you, and I am blessed, truly blessed to have those people around me. We work as a family, we eat, laugh, and cry as a family, and that's what makes us different, I feel. As far as getting in touch with us, you can call any of our team members or look us up online. Contractors is, of course, our construction company. Oakdale Insurance is our insurance company. And we are available to be able to service any side.
Well, Irfan, thank you again for coming on, and thanks for all that you've done for the community, our subcontractors, for your team. We really appreciate you and everything that you're doing in Houston.
Thank you for having me here, and it's been a pleasure.
For more information about Houston Community College, please visit our website or follow us on Twitter at HCCSBDP. For It's Your Business, I'm your host, Veronica Douglas.